Hi folks, so this is the explanation behind the layout of the design task around the monogram. First of all, with the title plate, don't go too over the top, keep it simple, keep it succinct, just like I've got there. In terms of the defining the elements and principles of design, this will come out of Friday's activity. That by Friday you should be able to have a lot of those definitions up on the wall in the foyer of the DTC, and you'll be able to photograph and sort of then add it to the thing. By all means, please add your own ideas, your images, diagrams, text, anything to explain your thinking. The activity we did probably about a week ago now around the businesses and the type of businesses and defining those. So again, take a photograph of the brainstorming we did on the wall, add it to this page, add it to your thinking, allow it to stimulate some more of your thinking. Right? What does it look like? What does a business look like? What are the types that you could consider for your business? So it's all about brainstorming and putting ideas, all different ideas, and you want to have conversations with other people in the class around your ideas. Be open to their ideas. In terms of the monogram, this is where you do your investigation into the different types, ideas and examples of monograms. So that's the Pinterest activity we did last week, is something where you draw those images from and add them to this area to show your thinking and talk about the principles and elements of design. Just short annotated notes around those examples that you put down on the paper. Here's a reminder of the elements of design. So these are the types of the things you need to talk about and the principles of design. So this is the language that I want to see you use throughout your analysis and reflection. So the next part of the task is to consider your monograms and the different types that you can use. So again, we're playing with your initials. We're looking at combining them, adding something to it to enhance the monogram or the logo, to make it more than just T, J and O, to actually make an impact with using line, colour, contrast, pattern, shading, tone, all those sorts of principles of design. So you're experimenting with ideas. Don't rub things out. Leave it there. It may be a stimulus for something later on. You never know. Get other people's opinion of your sketches and drawings. Don't be afraid to ask, what do people think? Take it on board to develop your ideas further. Then you need to add a little bit of analysis and reflection. And again, that reflection is based on the principles and elements of design, using the language, using the terminology that we've shown in the diagrams previously. Now we move into the second part, I guess, of the task, and that is considering the design of the business card, and then obviously the design of the fridge magnet. The process is very similar. So first of all, we need to gather some ideas to get some stimulus to get us thinking about new, innovative, creative ideas that we can use for business cards. So again, we're thinking, what does a business card involve? What information does it hold? So we need to include that. Moving into the sandbox stage, that's when you start to put your ideas down. You sketch and draw your images. And again, you're analysing it, reflecting and evaluating your ideas based on those principles and elements of design. Talk about the layout. Why is it laid out the way it is? Is it to create an impact? Why are you using the colours? So think about, ask yourself why. Why are you doing things in the design that you are? And that should be based around, that should be your annotation. Think about the composition. How can you combine things? Colour, line, shape, form. How can you be creative in that combination? Take a risk. Try things new. Try new things. Don't be afraid that if it doesn't look right, leave it there. Move on. So the next stage, as we mentioned earlier, is the fridge magnet stage, where you're looking at the design of the fridge magnet. Now, don't be scared to use some of your ideas from your business card as a stimulus or example of ideas that you can use for fridge magnets. Develop those ideas. Remember that a fridge magnet obviously has a different function, that it's got to hang on a fridge and maybe a different audience. So those are the things you need to think about. So again, use your Pinterest and go fridge magnets. What do we look like? What can we find out around fridge magnets? What do you think of? When you say fridge magnets, what do you think of? Think of a fridge, think of a magnet, but what else? Be creative in your thinking. Don't look beyond the obvious and look for something a bit quirky or a bit out there to sort of make your idea sell. We then move obviously then into the sandbox stage. Again, similar thinking. Drawing up, sketching, annotating your ideas around your fridge magnet design. It's your design. Remembering you have to incorporate your logo / monogram into this design. So you need to think creatively on how that can happen. How can you combine those sorts of concepts and ideas to make an impact, to make people emotionally attach themselves to your fridge magnet. It sounds funny, but that's what you ultimately want to achieve, that emotional attachment to your design. That's how people sell products. Remembering that your annotation has to be using the language of the principles and elements of design. That's what you're explaining, how you're explaining, I should say, your thinking. Once you've done all that, it's about presenting your final prototypes or ideas. And it's simply in 3 parts. One is your monogram. What was your final idea or prototype that you want to present in terms of your monogram? What did you decide on? And what I want you to do is actually explain why you decided on that. What was your thinking behind that idea? Just briefly, in a short, succinct statement. Then, of course, I want to see what your final business card design was. And again, same thing. Explain your thinking behind it using that language, which I keep saying, around elements and principles of design. And finally, the fridge magnet. Present your final prototype and then explain what was your thinking behind it. Why did you do certain things? Put it in terms of those elements and principles of design.